So thank you all so much again for being here. We have an amazing session planned for you. We believe in doing this every single Friday because we want to help you accelerate your success. We just believe in coming together and having this community. We want to elevate everybody. We want everybody to succeed. So thank you for trusting us to bring you the best of the best top agents and industry leaders every single Friday. Today, we have Chad Smith and we have Jason. They are absolutely amazing human beings. And I am going to let Chad and Jason introduce themselves because they have so many accolades that there's no way that I could remember all of them. So Chad, Jason, thank you so much for being with us today. We cannot wait for you to share with our entire community how we are going to beat this high interest rate dilemma with a very specific strategy. So thank you all for being here and let's just get into it today.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Ashley. All right. Thanks, guys. JB, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
All right, everyone at Fun Friday. This is Jason Breitenstein. So Jason Breitenstein and I have been working together for over 10 years. And we are just having an absolute blast putting this course together because Jason has got a unique skill set in that he was a regional sales trainer for a new construction company for 13 years before he got into real estate to become a real estate agent. So Ashley, Corey, and I have had several conversations about this, and this today, everything that we cover for the next hour or so, none of this is theory. This is what we have been doing for over really actually about 5 years, because even if you think about it, before COVID, we already had kind of a tight inventory. And so we were solving the tight inventory, low supply side of things with new construction. And then the builders had solutions when there was no pre-owned inventory. And now they've provided inventory plus helped us with affordability, which we're going to get into with the high rates that we've now had for 2 years straight. And we're going to go through a lot of the evolution of how Jason and I came up to this. Really, I give Jason and the team more credit than myself on this, but how to have conversations with your buyers, all the scenarios that we can solve this market. And Jason's going to really go into his 5 no's today. And then as we wrap up, we're going to give you guys an invitation for another deep dive and a Q&A where you can really kind of pick his brain and learn from him, because we're not talking about just a couple years experience. We're talking about his whole career has prepared him for this moment. And so Jason may or may not be willing to brag on himself, but I can brag on him for a minute. When we opened up in the summer of 2020, that June, Jason sold 26 homes in 1 month. So he holds the record for the Chad Smith team. That's a really big deal. And Jason, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that through mid-year this year that you've already done what you did last year. So would you mind just so that everybody knows why they should pay attention today, walk us through kind of what's happened with you and your production here for the last, I guess maybe the last 2 years or so.
Yeah. So totally. So, going into COVID in 2020, we basically just decided to take a stance with mindset of we're not going to participate in what the market throws at us. And so we have a saying that we utilize here all the time, which is, what's the market got to do with me?
Right.
We just decided as a group that we were going to continue working to grow our business regardless of what the world throws at us. And so it allowed us through COVID to have some of the biggest years we've ever had in our careers. Like Chad said, I sold 26 homes in 1 month. And I will say this, it's impossible to sell 26 homes in a month without surrounding yourself by the best people. So unless you're working with the best title companies and you're working with the best lenders, it's never going to happen. You're going to spend your time trying to keep things together. So It's due to working with title companies like Alamo Title that's allowed me to do that. But we also went on to personally sell on average about 75 homes a year. Between 75 and 100 is pretty typical. This year, I have already done in half the year what I did last year. And just in new construction, so far, I have put 28 new construction homes under contract this year, and I've got 12 listed at the moment. And I'm in the process this morning of putting 2 more new construction homes under contract. So it'll jump up by the end of the day to 30. So yeah, and it's
Awesome, Jason.
definite focus on how to educate my buyers is what really is the answer.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, before we jump into the PowerPoint, I just want to, I want to take a minute and just publicly for everybody here on Fun Friday, just I want everyone here to know how much I appreciate Jason. Jason and I are team members. His last name is Breitenstein. Maybe one of the team members could type that in on chat for someone in the chat that's asking. But Jason is you've been a wonderful just asset to the organization. You're very helpful to everyone. And I know that you really want to provide a lot of value today. And then I will also second what you said about being in business with the best ancillary businesses or affiliates. And I've said this each time, but I want to say it again. Corey and Ashley and the Alamo team, by the way they show up at Fun Friday, they show you how they're going to show up in your business to support your business. Because every title company in the country has got lunch and learn continuing education classes that like 2 people show up to and get a free sandwich. And then you get some free pins and a printout of school reports. And look at what they have done. Look at what they have done and continue to do for you. And every single week, they're masterminding and they're working to figure out how they can help each one of us navigate through this absolutely insane real estate market and grow our businesses. So I want to be in business with people like that. If you guys agree with me, type that in the chat. Just say, I agree, or let's go, or yes, something like that. And then we want to show that. We want to show that when we get something under contract and actually reciprocate. I've had a conversation with Corey and Ashley in the last couple of weeks, and one of the biggest unlocks that we've ever had in our business was when we realized how important it is to reciprocate back to the people that help us grow our business. The ChadSmith team, we did $1 million a year for about 4 years in a row with a business partner, not a real estate agent, but someone else in the industry, because they saw that we got it. We wanted to reciprocate back to them. And so this is just me saying this. Each one of us would be reciprocating if we turned around and went and met with that closer in the whatever part of the DFW Metroplex you're in, and started working with them, got to know them, sat down and had those conversations with Anna and everybody else that was on there, the Frisco office, the Southlake office. So I just wanted to get that out there. I appreciate you, JB, and then Ashley, Corey, and the Alamo team. And before we jump into the PowerPoint, let me say one more thing. I read this the other week and I haven't stopped thinking about it. C.S. Lewis said, "Human life has always been lived on the edge of a precipice. Human culture has always had to exist under the shadow of something infinitely more important than itself." So it just makes me realize that for hundreds of years, for thousands of years, the human condition is that it's always the craziest of times. Human life has always been lived on the edge of a precipice. And I know that these are crazy times, especially with it being an election year. And just all what we've all been through as an industry for the last couple of years, and as a civilization over the last 4 years or so. But what we're talking about today is how we can serve our clients and how we can solve the problem. There is always a way to solve the problems in the market, regardless of what market we're in. And our mindset with the ChadSmith team and with our coaching community is that a lot of leaders out there in real estate are saying, just hang on until rates drop. Just hang on until rates drop. And there's all this pent up demand, and then your business is going to explode. And we say the best businesses, the most dominating real estate agents of the next 10 to 15 years are not waiting for rates to drop. The best real estate agent businesses of the next 10 to 15 years are being built today. Type that into the chat. The best real estate agent businesses are being built today. And so that's the framework that we're going to approach this material today. Our goal, it's not about us. Our goal is to equip every person that chose to show up here today with the mindset and then the tactics that they need to win now. Yes, we'll win when rates drop, but there are always sellers selling. There are always buyers buying in every market. All right, JB, you want to jump into the PowerPoint?
Yes, sir. Let's put this on. So let me get my ability to toggle here. So that's a little bit about me. We will skip that. You guys don't need to see that. This is, if you want to follow me on social. Now, I will preface and say, when it comes to social media, I was flagged and my social media was removed. So I rebuilt mine over the last 2 months. And when it comes to social media, this is going to tie in really closely with what we talk about today, because social media is driving buyers towards new construction. And we do a lot of social media, and we get a lot of results that drive people towards buying new construction. So if you're going to do social media, understanding how to have the conversations around new construction homes is going to be crucial. This is a pre-registration to our 5-week training that Chad kind of alluded to. Chad, do you want to talk about this for a minute?
Yeah. So there are 5 no's that we're going to cover today. And what we've created is a 5-session training. So what we'll do, if you're interested in this training, we'll obviously reach out to you outside of this meeting, but we're going to spend an hour to an hour and a half on each one of the 5 no's. And including one of the sessions, Jason's actually going to go on site to a new construction community that has homes being built in different stages of the construction process, and he's going to actually show you what to look out for, what to avoid, what to flag, how to have conversations with sales reps. And so it's going to be everything that he can impart to you. And you're talking about 5 weeks, an hour plus deep dive. And so if you want to really flush this part of your business out and bring it into maybe one of the key drivers in your business over the next couple of years, then just pre-register and we'll go from there. Somebody typed in there, what's the cost? The cost on this is going to be, for the 5-week, is going to be $297. $297 for the 5-week class, one-time fee. All right, JB, let's keep going.
Okay, perfect. So what got us talking about this whole situation of overcoming the biggest objection that we have right now, which is the high rates? So the U.S. mortgage rates have soared to the highest level in over 21 years. If you look back to the early 2000s, to 2002, we have not seen rates since 2002 jump over 7%. What's really intriguing to me about this slide is that not only has it been over 20 years for us to see rates this high, but look at how fast they came up from the bottom. So for the majority of those 21 years, the rates jumped up and they would bounce a little bit here and a little there. We'd have some small spikes, but we got down in 2020 and 2021, we got down to below 3% interest rates. That's what the world had gotten accustomed to. And look at how fast they shot up from 3% to over 7%. And that was the point, the pivotal point that created the fear. People couldn't comprehend paying 7% for a house, which has created this dilemma, and why a lot of agents are sitting on the sidelines waiting for rates to come down before they jump back in the business. If you look at the cost of renting versus buying, owning versus renting in America right now, this is the highest spread that we've ever seen between the cost of owning and renting. There have been points over the years where it actually was cheaper to rent. There have been points where it was cheaper to buy because of the rates. But because of the 7% interest rates right now, the cost difference between owning a home and renting a home is off the charts. And again, feeding into the fear that we see in buyers right now. So Goldman Sachs actually came out and said that the housing affordability is the biggest challenge for our market. And what this means is that overall, right now, our affordability is at almost an all-time low. Home prices are elevated and interest rates are elevated at the same time, and it's causing for an affordability crisis. So how do we solve that? And the answer to that is going to be in today's class, talking about new construction. So going back to 2020, we created this system or this slide called the buyer's dilemma. And the main reason we did this is back in 2020, the housing prices were being elevated so quickly because of the low interest rates. But the bigger issue was that buyers had to come out of pocket with such a large amount over the asking price and over the appraisal price and guaranteeing it that most buyers couldn't compete. So I had to have conversations with buyers every day that, hey, I appreciate that you have done your homework. You went and got pre-approved. You've saved up enough money for your down payment. You've done a great job saving for your closing cost. But unfortunately, you can't buy a house in this market unless you go where you can afford to buy a house. So the true answer between the buyer's dilemma is what every buyer really wants. They want the exact area they want the exact house they want, and they want it for the exact price that they want. And the truth is, they can only get, unless they have just completely deep pockets and they can afford to pay whatever the market demands, they can only get two of these three. And so the power in this slide is actually not going over the slide with the buyer, but it's demonstrating this with the MLS in front of you. So what I would do is I would sit down with my buyers and I would turn my computer around and I would type in everything that they wanted. And inevitably, this translates into exactly what we're dealing with today, because we still have some inventory issues and we still have high prices coupled with high interest rates. So a common scenario that we get here. Somebody say something?
Hey, Jason, this is Chad.
Yeah.
Hey, just real quick for everyone on the call, because most everybody on here, they've never seen the buyer's dilemma. So you just mentioned buyers want the home they want the area they want, and they want the price that they want. They want all three, right? Even if they're first-time home buyers. Can you walk everybody through kind of what happens with the three scenarios?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was going to describe on how I use the MLS. So essentially, a scenario that we get commonly is, I want to live in Frisco. I want a new construction house, and my budget is $400,000. And anybody that's been in real estate for a while knows that that doesn't exist in Frisco. And so using the buyer's dilemma, I help the buyer identify their options. And it's not me telling them, it's me showing them. So I will start off by turning the computer around. And the first scenario is I plug in everything that they want, the location, the price, and I turn the computer around and I say, hey, there are either 0 homes available for what you're looking for, or there's one and it's a townhome and it's under contract. And so I say, okay, so let's change the variables a little bit and let's see what happens. Let's take the price out. So the first thing I do is I take the price out of the equation and I show them on the MLS exactly how many homes pop up. And I say, okay, so I can find you new construction in Frisco that meet all your other criteria, but the price is starting off at 700 or 725. And I'll look at them and I'll say, is that something that we want to do? Do we want to go ahead and consider going up in price? Most buyers say, absolutely not. I can't go up in price. My budget is 400, or I've got a max approval for 425, whatever that is. And I say, okay, great. Well, let's change a few other things. So let's put price back in and let's take out new construction. Let's take out the size of the house, the lot size, any other criteria that they have put in there. I take it out and I'll turn the computer around again and I'll show them, this is what you can buy in Frisco for under 400,000. And we'll start looking at those. And they may be townhomes. They may be older homes that aren't in the perfect condition. They may need a little bit of love. And I'll say, okay, so now this is what's available in the area that you want, giving up the house that you want. So you're going to sacrifice one of the three. We've looked at sacrificing price. They're not okay with that. So the second one is we're looking at what if we give up on some of the features of the house that we want. And in most cases, you may find some scenarios where they say, yeah, I could live with that. And that's okay. And in a lot of cases, they say, no, I need my 4 bedrooms, or I need my house that has the media room. I need space for my kids. I need the bigger backyard. I need something. So I go, okay, great. So let's go one more level into this. I plug everything back in. Let's put the price back in. Let's put all the housing criteria in, and let's just take the map off. Let's get rid of Frisco and let's see what happens. And the reality is I can go within 15 to 20 minutes outside of Frisco, and I can get you, in most cases, more than you wanted for under 400,000. If you're willing to sacrifice the area and maybe go 15 minutes up to Aubrey or over to Providence Village, or a little over the other direction and go to Princeton, there's areas around Frisco that you can do. And so that leads us into the conversations that we have around the 5 no's of new construction. So again, we say,
Can we pause there real quick?
Of course.
JB. So everybody on the call, what he's talking about, this is literally how we've sold dozens of homes. That's not just a slide. This is not just a class. That's how we've made it through this market. These buyers, they think they want it all, or they think they can't afford anything. But when you know how to navigate your MLS, and we've got recordings of this, we practice this, and you sit down with them and you take them straight through what Jason just showed. This is worth your 2 hours, hour and a half, however long we're on today. This is worth it right here. If that's the only thing we cover today, it would be worth it, because you're leading your buyer. You're showing them an actual solution. It's so easy to get stuck in, oh, the market's bad. Well, if we're thinking that as agents, just imagine what the public's thinking. But when you can show them where the legitimate solution is, and if you're looking at that slide, the most of the time, the easiest solution is the one on the right. So you can get them the home they want and the price they want. If they will go far enough out, then we can find it. So I just wanted to emphasize, this is a brilliant thing. We didn't learn this from anyone. Jason and I and the team, we've always said, hey, there's always a solution to the market. And this is what we developed to continue to provide for our families and to continue to thrive in our business in the middle of these chaotic times. So I just wanted to emphasize what a great job you did with that, Jason. And just make sure that everybody realizes how important it is.
I'll piggyback off of what Chad just said, because there were agents that we knew personally that got taken out in 2020 and 2021 in what could be argued is the best market that we've ever seen. There were literally buyers everywhere. You could trip and run over 5 buyers. Now, the problem was you had to know how to educate the buyers and how to take them out to find them the right opportunities. But there were agents that refused to utilize this kind of a system and said, I can't compete. I live in Frisco. All my buyers, it was a negative mindset. All my buyers don't have enough money to compete. I can't compete. I can't compete. I can't find houses. Every house disappears too fast. And they literally went out of business and went and got jobs. And
it's true. It's true. So what Jason and I are saying, everybody, is we knew really good agents that quit in 2021 before the rates went up. So in any given market, you got, if you decide this market's hard, there are no answers, you can get taken out. And we don't, that's why Corey and Ashley started this. 500,000 real estate agents in 2023 sold 0 or 1 home. But there is a mindset that says there are always buyers buying. There are always sellers selling. My job is to look at the market, not hide from it, and then solve it. And so this is how we solve it. And now the rest of this talk today is going to be giving you even more details as to what these conversations in this process looks like.
Absolutely. So what's the market got to do with me? If you're one of those agents that sits there and constantly says, the market's tough, I can't get buyers, I can't find buyers, I can't get them under contract, I can't do this. Or if you're the agent that says, what's the market got to do with me? There's always a solution. Either way, you're right. You have created your destiny and your future. Either way. So it starts with mindset by choosing the right path. But this is what led us to creating the 5 no's of new construction, because right now, new construction has been what kept us going for the last 5 or 6 years. But right now it is probably more crucial than ever before, because it is the true answer to the objection, the elephant in the room. And so it starts with knowing your market. So the key to this is, first, you've got to identify what your market is. So if you're the agent that says, I only want to work in Frisco, or I only want to work in Weatherford, Texas, guess what? Your job is going to be a little bit easier than mine on this, because the truth is, you've got to find out who all the players are in your market. My market happens to be wherever the buyer wants me to go. If the price is right, I'll go there. So my circle is Dallas, Fort Worth, up to Denton, north of Denton, south of Burleson, Joshua, Cleburne, out past Weatherford, out past Rockwall, Rowlett, Fate. So I have had to, and most of our team has had to, spend the last several years really getting to know all the builders and all the players in our market. So you've got to spend the time to find out what builders are building where, what they're building, the quality they're building, and find out everything you can possibly do about it. And you've got to learn how to build relationships with these reps. Now, this can be done over the phone. You can simply sit and make phone calls and start to get to know the builders, get the information about where they're at, what they're building. I personally think that the power is in the personal touch. So getting in the car, spending a day, driving around, walking in, shaking hands, handing your card, building that relationship. These relationships are huge. The power in having these one-on-one personal relationships with these reps, because it's going to get you inside information. When they have homes that come back on the market, a lot of times they're going to have a house that fell out and it's been dropped in price because the builder needs to move it fast. The first people that builder rep is going to call is his own little circle of influence, his sphere of influence. So he's going to call all the agents that he is personally friends with, has a good relationship with, and offer that to them to sell. So we've sold many, many houses by just being the one that got the phone call first, saying, hey, do you have a buyer that happens to be interested in this community for this kind of a price? And we're like, absolutely we do. Let's bring them over. You're also going to get inside information as to what's coming, when new phases are going to be opened up, when new developments are going to be opened up. So the more you can build the relationship with these reps, the better your business is going to be and the easier this is going to be for you. So I highly advise you to start by kind of figuring out who the builders are in your market, get in the car, go out, personally sit there and shake their hand, look them in the eye. And this doesn't happen one time. This is the mistake that a lot of agents make, is you can't just go and shake somebody's hand and expect something in return, expect them to know who you are. And I've seen a lot of agents that go in and the first thing they do is they walk in, they shake their hand on the card, and they're like, hey, do you have a builder move up program? I'd love to be your go-to agent for the builder move ups. Or, hey, who lists your houses? Can I list your houses? They don't know you. There's no relationship there. So this is going to have to be something where you set aside time either weekly or monthly to continue to nurture those relationships. Now, after the first one, It can be on the phone. You may be able to pick up the phone periodically and ask for some updates or ask some questions and build that relationship. But you want to become the agent that they go to when they have information or they have new homes on the market. Number two is know your product. So as you get to know the builders and as you get to know all of the players in your market, you better know all the incentives, who's got inventory, what the inventory is priced at, what homes are quick move-ins, what are builds, what are build jobs. You better know every detail you can know about the communities, the HOA fees, the amenities, what comes with what. And you also should know what builders will actually accept offers. This is crucial because there've been many times where agents on our team have gone into a new construction community and walked out negotiating 30,000 or more in reductions in price. They've negotiated additional incentives. They've negotiated additional options, getting washer, dryer, refrigerator thrown in, getting mini blinds thrown in, getting something on top of the normal incentive. And when you do that, you come out looking like a major hero for your client. And you don't know this until you start to really get to know everybody out there, get to know all the stuff. So there's something that Chad and I talk about quite often, and that is the fastest way for me to know that you're either a new agent or an inexperienced agent is for you to get a lead, and that lead to ask you a question of, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a home in Frisco with this many square feet, this many bedrooms, and I want it to be under 400,000. And if you have to say the words, well, let me go check and do a little digging, and I'll put together a list and I'll call you back. That tells me right off the bat that you're not in tune with the market. You're a new agent, you're an inexperienced agent, because reality is you should know wherever your lead sources are coming from, whatever leads are coming in, wherever they're looking, you should know exactly where you can take them to win. And all this information should be at your fingertips. So when I lead generate, no matter where the lead is looking in the Metroplex, if they're looking up north, I know exactly where to take them for the price point. If they're looking down south, the same thing. If they're looking out west towards Weatherford, Aledo, I know all the areas and the players so that whatever price point they throw at me, I know exactly where I can take them to show them some houses. If they're looking out east, I know exactly where I'm taking them to show them houses. That saves a lot of time. And on that first call, it's building confidence and it's building value with them, because I'm telling them right off the, now, until I do a buyer consult and until I get a buyer rep signed, I may not give them the answers. I may not tell them exactly where the community is, but I'm telling them right off the bat, oh, okay, so you're looking to be in Frisco for under 400. Well, unfortunately, right now, all the builders in Frisco are starting off a little bit higher than that. However, I do know of some builders that are in the area that are starting off in the mid to upper 300,000 range. And the incentives they're offering are currently 10,000 towards closing cost. And they've got 4.5% interest rate available that can really help save you a lot of money. So let's get together and let's analyze these, and I'll bring them into my office, sit them down. We'll go through all this together. So it's really,
Hey, Jason.
yes.
Hey, real quick. So let's pause right there for a sec, because that's really good. And it looks like maybe RuPaul, if I'm saying it correctly, asked the question, how would we suggest the best way to find this information out be, besides going on the builder websites or meeting with them in person? And there is kind of a third way, and that would be kind of to be in some sort of a community or a mastermind, similar to what we have, because we've got a community of agents that are communicating with each other. And so we've kind of got a living, breathing, running spreadsheet of not only what communities are out there throughout the Metroplex, but also what builder reps we've established relationships with, as well as current interest rates and incentives. But let's just say an agent doesn't have that. This is a domino, right? So if anybody has ever read The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, it's not really a real estate book. It's a productivity book. It's a business book. And success is like a series of dominoes lined up, but you can't go knock over domino number 137 if you're on domino 3 and you need to knock over domino number 4. And so if you're on this call and a lead were to come into you right this minute, within the next hour or so, and they said, hey, you know, I'm looking, to use Jason's example, I'm looking in Frisco for 400,000. Do you know anything like that? And you said, well, let me go do some research and I'll come back to you. What Jason's saying is if those buyers talk to 2 or 3 other agents, or if they talk to someone like Jason, you're going to communicate to them that you're not on top of your game. And so what I hear in all this as I'm listening to Jason talk about it is, if I don't have that information, my domino when I leave today is I'm gonna time block a day and I'm gonna get in the car and I'm gonna go up and meet builders and I'm gonna take notes and I'm gonna walk through and familiarize myself with the product. And I'm gonna go to these different spots. Maybe it's gonna take a couple days, but by the time I'm done with that process, I'm a new agent. I've leveled up my game because now I actually have value beyond just looking online, right? And there are shortcuts on how you could do that if you get connected to the right people. But this is a huge domino. So I'm just I think my role today, Jason, is just to kind of come back behind, because you do these things naturally because you've worked on being a proactive person and because of your mindset. But there are major unlocks in what you're saying if we just take practical action and then we implement what you're saying. So I'll give it back to you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chad. And also, I'm not watching the chat, so if you see questions that are good, yeah, please let me know. So going back to what Chad just talked about, yeah, it's day one. You don't even know where to start. I get it. That's where every one of us start. And the truth is, if I'm day one, without going on all the builder websites and trying to figure out where they are, I usually start on the MLS. So I'll open up the MLS, and the majority of your players they're gonna list their homes on the MLS. So I'm gonna start there to make my list of places I'm gonna go. And then as you get out looking at communities, you're gonna see the other directional signs and the other signs for other communities. Those random ones that don't post on the MLS, you're gonna find those because there's gonna be that arrow sign that says random builder this way 1 mile. And then you're going to go, yeah, let me stop by there and check that out. But yeah, the reality is you start there. Chad did say, and he's right, we have put together in our organization a spreadsheet to kind of make this easier and to save us some time. And we compile not only the communities and the builders, but we're also putting in there the incentives, what's going on, their price points, kind of what the inventory situation looks like. And even more specifically than that, we're putting notes in there as to who we think the best rep is for each community. So that when you are making that call, if you don't already have a relationship built with someone, you can go straight to who the best top or the top rep is for each community. So yeah, I mean, and we're going to be doing another deep dive next Thursday where we're going to have a Q&A and talk a little bit more in depth about some of these. But yeah, we can help you identify the best practices as far as how to target going out there and meeting all these builders. Don't expect it to take one day or happen fast. It's going to take some time. And I usually tell people, don't devote all of your time to doing something like that. Block one day or block a few hours and let it be a slower process. But the reality is, when you've accomplished this and a phone call comes in and you know exactly where to take them, your job is so much easier.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay, so moving on, there we go. Okay, moving on. So this one is a little trickier. So this is what Chad was talking about, that we're going to be doing one of those sessions, and the 5-week session is going to be in person for those who can be there, inside a new construction community. And we're going to be looking at how do you identify good quality versus bad quality? What things do you point out? And this is going to directly tie into the next section, which is knowing your value prop. So the reality is, when I started in new construction, I maybe knew what a hammer was, and I could probably tell you what a nail was. But the truth is, I didn't really know anything about construction. I wanted to learn, I wanted to know, because I wanted to understand what I was selling. So when I wasn't working with clients and when I wasn't sitting in the office, I would go out to the construction sites and I would watch the guys build the houses. And I would ask questions. What is that? Why is it? Why are you doing that? What's that for? And over the course of 13 years, I accumulated a very, very strong knowledge of construction, to the point that I have, there were points during the 07, 08 meltdown, or, recession, that I actually opened up a construction company and did construction jobs. Because I'd learned so much, I figured, why not put it to work? So the truth is, take 13 years and go stand out in a construction site every day and ask a lot of questions. And in 13 years, you should have enough knowledge to be able to explain all this well. And for those of you who don't have 13 years, we're going to be doing it in one day. So I have, this is something that this is a proven system that works. We have taken agents on our team that really had no background in construction, and to some degree still don't. But I've been able to take them out there and show them some really easy things to talk about, easy things to point out, easy things to look for that help you identify whether a builder's building a good product or a bad product. And so I get a question a lot. And that question is, what do you think about this builder A or this builder B? And what do you think about this community? And do they build a good product? And my answer is always the same. And that is, I won't be able to tell you that until we go out there and look at it, because you can have the exact same builder building in two different communities in the same city, and the products will be very different. They may look the same at the very end, because that's what the builder controls. The builder is going to control the look, the finish out, the features. But the general manager, or the superintendent, whatever they call themselves, the construction manager, is going to dictate the quality of the construction in that community. And it goes all the way down to the crews he hires, the subs they hire, the materials they use that are behind the scenes that you can't look and see at a model home. So I tell every client, one of my value props, and we'll tie this in the next section as well, but I can take you out to a construction site of any community. We can look at each one of these homes that are under construction, preferably pre-sheetrock. So we see electrical, we see plumbing, we see all the framing and everything in there. And we can point out very quickly whether they're using good materials, using bad materials, whether they're doing good work, doing sloppy work, and more importantly, are they going above and beyond the current normal Texas building codes? That is crucial. Understanding like what to look for, what to point out. The builders that are going above and beyond and putting extra features in there, it's a great thing to point out and talk about. And yes, there are times when there are houses that the quality is very poor. And I, in a very nice way, suggest that the client maybe not buy this house. Maybe we go look at some other ones to find something that has better quality. So the reality is you really need to understand, if you want to be successful and on high level in new construction, be able to articulate and identify good builders versus bad builders, good quality versus bad quality. And even more than that, during the process with the building, you need to know what to look for during a pre-sheetrock walkthrough, how to go in there and how to protect your buyer and make sure that things are being done the way they're supposed to, know what to look for, know what not to look for, or not what shouldn't be there, I should say. And even more importantly, how to have the appropriate conversations to get things corrected so that you're not creating an adversarial scenario with the builder. So Chad, did any questions pop up on that one?
We've got Larry has his hand raised, so
Okay.
we've got a question there.
I don't know if Larry can talk, but Larry, what's your question?
Sorry, I clicked that on accident. No question.
Okay.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
Larry,
Sounds good.
that was a great question.
I'll chime in on this, Jason, real quick. I would say that it's pretty clear just having you present today. This is a big one. The next slide is too in terms of value proposition because you've just got so much there. But this would really equip agents with confidence, right? Because I think a lot of real estate agents, not all, but a lot, come from that same spot where you were in the beginning, where they don't have a construction background, and so it would be difficult for them to add value from that standpoint. But through some of that training that you can offer, I think that would be I could learn from it, right? And so I think a lot of people would as well. But is the next one the value prop?
The next one is the value prop. Yep.
All right. Yeah, let's go into that because I think same with this one, knowing construction, and then this value prop is going to be great for everyone.
Yeah. So to me, this is probably one of the most powerful slides and one of the most powerful pieces of the equation is understanding your value when it comes to new construction. And I break these into a couple different categories. Number one is you should know your value before the contract, and you should also know your value after the contract. So if you don't have a value add or a value proposition when it comes to new construction, you're probably not going to be very successful. Because one of the main questions that I get asked, and I actually love it when they ask this question, because it tees me up for exactly how I'm going to win. And that question is, do I even need a realtor for new construction? And the answer to that question is a very simple no. No, you do not need an agent for new construction. You can go and do this on your own. You can go through and navigate and do all these things. Now, you may not want to do this on your own. You may not like what's going to happen if you do it on your own. But the reality is you have the right to hire an agent, and it may be something that you want to do. There may be some benefits there. And so when I get asked that question, do I need an agent? No, but you may want one. There are definitely some benefits to having one. And they ask me, well, what are those benefits? And so we're going to go through this entire conversation of how we set that. The last one, you see the relationships, and the relationship, it ties back to the better your relationship is with these builder reps, the more you're going to know about inventory at better prices. The more you're going to know about deals that come back on the market, the more you're going to know about where you can take them to save them money. And that in itself is a very strong value add, because when I'm talking to a buyer and I tell them, I know exactly where I can take you to find you the house you're looking for, or even better than that, I know exactly where I can take you to find the house that you're looking for. And I just had a client that I took out there and I saved them $30,000. That's a value add. When I know that I know what my options are, I know what my limitations are, I know what communities I can't negotiate price in, that the builders are selling very fast and there's absolutely no chance of me getting that price down. But my value add is being able to tell that client, I know exactly where to save you money and how, and that's a huge value. But let's talk about the value before the contract. So I tell buyers, so there's a lot of things that agents do and value before you sign the contract, which is knowing where to take you to find the right house, knowing who has inventory, knowing all the incentives, knowing all the options, knowing the kind of quality that you're looking for, knowing exactly where to take you and how to save you money and how to get you under contract. That's the value add before the contract. But then I tell them, but the truth is, Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, what I really do for you and what you're really hiring me for is what happens after the contract. And this is where most agents don't understand this. Most agents will check out of the transaction after the contract is signed, and they never show up again until the day of closing. And so what I tell my buyers is that the things that I do for you after the contract are the most critical, because it's my job to take all the stress off of you during this entire process. My job is to be your champion in making sure things go smoothly. I want to be there for every walkthrough. I want to be there for the pre-sheetrock walkthrough. I want to be there for every meeting you have with a builder so that I can maintain that things are going the way they're supposed to go. And I have to preface this because I'll tell my clients now, the builder does not want me at these meetings. So if you don't tell me about the meetings, I won't know about them and I can't go. So as long as you're good at relaying the dates and the information to me, I will be at every meeting that they have, because it's my job to know whether the builder's telling them the truth or not. So the reality is, builders sometimes make mistakes. It happens. And it's my job to try to help fix these mistakes. The easiest way to fix a mistake that a builder makes is before that thing is covered up with sheetrock and brick and done. So the more times I'm out there looking at the house, the more often I'm out there. If we catch a window that's not in the right place or something that's not done, super easy to fix before they have gotten, 3/4 of the way into the house and they've got to rip sheetrock out and rip brick off the wall and things like that. So
Hey, Jason.
Yes.
Hey, couple things real quick. So I think for a lot of us agents, that moment when the buyers ask the agent, do I even need an agent for new construction? Most agents type in the chat if this has kind of been your experience. Most agents, they kind of shy away from that. Like that question makes them uncomfortable because they're not really sure what value they do have to offer. Maybe even feel a little guilty because they think that they have a little bit less involvement in it. But what I hear you saying is that you can't wait till they ask the question, because you turn around and use that question as the opportunity, since they ask, to deliver all this value, show that, and then differentiate, hey, I'm doing all these things to make sure that you end up in the right property. But then my value really kicks in once we go under contract. And here's all these things that I'm going to do that you're probably never going to hear from another agent. And another thing that I wanted to also bring up here, Candace asked, if you know a builder is not doing a good job building in a neighborhood, do you tell your client that? And with them maybe having a different definition of bad. So how would you kind of navigate through that?
Yeah, Candace. So that's actually going to be the fifth no. And when we get into that, it's called no trash talk. And so we're going to be talking about that, but I'll touch on it briefly. And the truth is, I never want to talk bad about a builder. I never want to talk bad about a builder's rep. What I do want to be is real with my client. And there are healthy ways to communicate that this builder may not have a great reputation. They may not build the most quality product. And, there are some builders out there that to be really transparent, I refuse to work with. They build such a poor product that I know it's not going to end well for my client, and they're not going to be happy at the end of the transaction. So I refuse to work with them. And when I do have clients come in and ask about that, well, can I go see this? I usually just direct them to, hey, you probably want to go online and maybe do a little research, maybe Google some of their reviews before we consider going to looking at them. And because I don't want to be the one that comes out and says builder bad. I'm going to direct them accordingly, but I want to do it in a way that I'm not bashing the builder. And we'll talk about why I do that and why I avoid the bash a few minutes later. Going back to what Chad was just talking about, though, Chad, you're absolutely right. So I love when that question comes up. We do a pretty high amount of lead generation towards new construction communities and new construction sales. And there was a particular scenario that I think is an interesting story. There was an agent on our team that got this lead that was looking for new construction. They were having a text conversation, and the lead, which happens a lot, thought that we were the builder. They respond to something and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were the builder. I'm not interested." And I realized that this person had let the conversation stop right there, didn't communicate back or do anything. So I just picked up the phone and called the lead, and she answered, and I said, "Hey, I apologize. I think you'd responded to one of our ads and you thought we were the builder." And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, totally get it. Apologize." And just wanted to tell you that if you're looking for new construction, we can help you, and we may be able to assist you in that. And our next question was, "Well, do I need a realtor for that?" And I said, "No." We went through exactly what we just talked about. And the funny part was she said, "Hey, can I put the phone down for a second?" And I was like, "Of course." She put the phone down for 5-10 seconds, and she picked it back up and she said, "Okay, my husband and I talked about it. We need that. Can you help us?" I said, "Absolutely, I can help you." And she goes, "Okay, well, we've already picked out the builder. We've already picked out the house. Can you meet us there tomorrow and help us sign the contract?" And I said, "Absolutely, I can." And she said, we're selling another house. We have a house that we're selling, and we've already picked a realtor for that." So the funny piece of this is they had already picked a realtor who was going to help them sell it. And that realtor did nothing to build value and help them buy another new construction house or buy a new construction house. So I said, "Cool, no problem." She goes, "Is that going to be a problem if we have another listing agent?" "Not at all. I'm happy to help you either way." So went on the builder meeting. We got the contract signed that day. Everything was great. Actually helped them negotiate some better incentives and better deals. Angel, the camera just quit. Gonna change battery. Sorry, guys, the battery went out on our camera, so we're gonna switch that. But
Keep on going, JB.
y'all can hear me okay? Okay. So did that the day after that. So 2 days after the initial phone call, they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we think it would just be easier to work with one agent. Would you be interested in listing our house?" And I said, "Of course I would. I would love that." So listed their house. A few days later, they called me and said, "Hey, we've got another friend. We told them what you did to help us get a better deal on this new construction house. They've already picked out a house and they're about to sign the contract. Can you help them too?" "Yes, I can. Yes, I can." So I met with them. I went in and I did the exact same thing, helped them negotiate a better deal, a better price. They signed the contract that day. The very next day, that same buyer called and said, "Hey, I also have to sell a house. Can you help me with that?" So I got 4 pieces of business off of one simple phone call, all because now there was an agent on our team that could have done everything I did, but chose not to. But just because I picked up the phone and I had this exact conversation about knowing my value with a buyer, it turned into 4 pieces of business.
That's phenomenal. And it really emphasizes what my role has been today. And that is, we miss it in little things. Like you go on Facebook, you go on TikTok, you go on Instagram. Everyone is trying to sell realtors everything. It's unreal. I mean, but all of it, almost everything that I see that's being sold is how to get leads for free, how to magically do this. And it's almost always like it's like they're selling you candy, like a quick fix. But the lead came in, the agent spoke to them, they got the initial no, and they quit. And there was 4 pieces of business there. And it was all about listening, adding value, and solving your client's problems. And I mean, if your average commission is $10,000, that was a $40,000 phone call. It's a $40,000 call. And then what's the lifetime value of those clients? Because they're going to come back to you and they're going to refer you business. I mean, it's truly amazing. And it's a perfect example. And so for all of us on the call, you know, what are the things that we can take away? Let's do that for a second. Everybody type into the chat. What's the one thing that you're going to take away from everything Jason has shared so far today that you think would be that domino or that one piece of this that could help you unlock or maybe even re-engage someone in your database? Let's look at that on the chat. Let's see what some people have got here. Go work on relationships with builders, learning how to know your value and communicate your value. Communication from Nicole, know your market, having some answers ready. Love that. Do your homework, build the relationships, be confident with your value. Good job, Gina. Time block, set time to visit builders. Takes time. Time block for activity, value prop, relationships, follow up, connecting with as many builders as possible, knowing what they offer. Confirm my commitment to focus my efforts on building relationships with builders in my target market. Value prop, seeing that a bunch. The spreadsheet. Okay, man, awesome, awesome stuff. Don't accept the first no. That was a big one that we just got out of that. And that extra effort. We always say this is the market of extra effort. Jason picked up that phone call just because we believe every lead is an opportunity. And look at what it turned into. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good job, everyone. Good job, everyone that just replied.
Yeah, Chad, and
Oh,
I
it's
think
still good.
you talking
Go ahead,
about
Jason.
you're talking about, you know, agents selling the magic pill. Well, my new class is how to get 13 years of new construction experience in 1 hour.
There you go. See, now you're thinking like a marketer. Okay, back to you, Jason.
Okay, so and again, going on with the value, part of the value prop on this is also it's the protecting your client. So I was going to share a couple of stories. Like number one, so I had a client buying new construction. In today's market, it'd probably be an $800,000 or $900,000 house. So it was at kind of the top end of the market for the moment. And we got in there, and toward the very end, we're doing the walkthrough, and the stair railing, there was kind of a catwalk across the top. The stair railing had about a ½ inch of shake. So you could literally grab the rail and shake it. And these buyers have small children. And we're doing the walkthrough with the builder, the superintendent, not the sales rep, but the builder. And they look us in the eye and they say, "Oh yeah, no, that's normal. That's normal." And I looked at them and I said, "You're kidding me, right? You think this is normal for this price point of a house?" And they go, "Well, we'll try to tighten it up." So we came back the next day. There was less shake, but there was still quite a bit of shake. And it took me standing my ground and in a nice way. Now I did this politely, but standing my ground, taking it up a notch. We had the regional manager come out and they tried to tell me the same thing. "Oh, this is normal. It's not gonna fall off or go anywhere." And then they tried to tell me that there was no way to physically fix it. And I told them, "Well, I tell you what, turn your head, give me 30 minutes and I'm going to fix it." And they said, "How are you going to fix it?" And I said, "I'm going to cut a hole in the other side of this wall and I'm going to tighten up these anchors and I'm going to have this thing where it won't move." And when they realized I knew what I was talking about,
Took a shower.
they said, "Fine, we'll fix it." They fixed it. It was right. I had another buyer that chose to completely cut me out of the deal. There was a builder that was not on the up and up and told the buyer when it was time to write the contract, "Hey, if you want to get rid of your agent and sign this form saying I don't have an agent, we'll give you a better deal." And they did. They signed it. Called me and said, "Hey, we're sorry. It was about the money. It is what it is." So wished them well, went about my business. And a few months later, they called me and they said, "Hey, can you help me? This is an absolute train wreck. The builder's putting in the wrong materials. The timing is all off. Things aren't going the way they're supposed to. Nothing they said is coming true." And I looked at them and I said, "Hey, yeah, I could absolutely help you if you had hired me, but you didn't. So I'm sorry, you're on your own. And I didn't do that because I'm being spiteful. I did it because I have no authority to negotiate on their behalf because they cut me out. So there's a lot of these anecdote stories that really kind of help add credence to what we do. And as you get in there and you build those, that's going to add to your story. So the next one is no trash talk. So this goes back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. Even if the builder has a bad reputation, even if they build a really bad product, I need to avoid talking trash about the builder. I can relay information in a positive way that this may not be the right fit. There are other builders out there that build a better house. I can get you a house with a better price, whatever that is, but I need to do it in such a way that I don't trash the builders. When I'm under contract, there's also this natural tendency to want to throw the builder under the bus. And so I get this a lot where the buyer will call and they may be a little frustrated. And the conversation is, what's taking so long? Why is there nobody working on my house today? Why is I look around and there's workers on every other house, but nobody's working on mine. And I could very easily just jump on the bandwagon and go, yeah, I know these guys are horrible. They just don't do what they say. I can't believe that they're not doing this or they're doing that. And all I'm really doing is I'm feeding into the negativity that's going to create a bad scenario for my client. So at the end of the day, our goal is to have a smooth transaction. I want my client to be happy because when my client is happy at the end of the transaction, they're more likely to refer me business and come back to me when they need to sell or buy something else. So I have to stay positive, and I put in there stay solution based because the best thing that I can do in this scenario is stay calm, stay rational, avoid talking trash about the builder, and continue to keep my client on a positive mindset. So when they call me and they say there's something wrong, my answer is, hey, let me dig into this. Let me find out what's going on. Let me talk to the builder, find out what they're doing, find out why there's nobody out there working, and I'm going to get you some answers. And I'm going to do this in a way that I don't destroy the builder's reputation. One of the main reasons that I say don't trash talk, because if I'm the guy that's out there running around talking bad about the builders, talking bad about the sales reps, it's going to get back to other builders and other sales reps because they all talk to each other. It's going to get back to other people that this guy's out there just talking trash about stuff. And it's going to affect my reputation in the industry at some point. And truthfully, how often do we see builder reps either move to another community or even more so, they move to another builder? And if somebody's working for a builder that I don't think builds the best house, and I spend all my time trashing that builder, when that agent or that rep moves over to another builder that I do like, do you think I'm going to have favor with them? Absolutely. Nope. Absolutely not. So it's in my best interest to stay in a professional manner, keep my level head, stay solutions based, and find answers without having to really trash the builder. Now, I said it before, there are builders that I will not work with, and there are positive, easy ways that I can have those conversations with them without really going into a negative space. So any questions, thoughts, comments about that piece?
Raul chimed in and just said, yes, keep it positive throughout the building process. Thought that was really good. I agree completely.
So
what would be something you would say about to a builder? How would you handle that, Jason, if they really were not up to snuff, up to your expectations?
You mean before
an example?
Sorry, friends. Sorry, Jason, Chad, and I'm sorry, Kathy. Kathy, was that you who asked the question? Sorry, you guys. Pause for just one quick little second just a quick little pause. I know Corey has to dash, and so we want to make sure that we do our giveaway. So we're just going to jump in here real quick. We're going to do our giveaway, and then Chad, I'd love to do just a quick promo for next week's class, and then we can go right into Q&A, and however much time you all have, and the agents who want to stay on with us, I always call it the Alamo after party. So we can hang out as long as everybody has to get to everybody's questions, because I have taken down some questions that I saw in the chat. So does that all sound good to everybody?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Corey, you're up.
Yeah, I do want to say right now, if you haven't had the chance to do VIP, you need the recording of this call. It's not just the subject that Jason and Chad are talking about. There are so many nuggets of gold, the domino reference, the blocking your time reference, the knowing what your value is immediately when someone asks you that. There are so many value points within this presentation. You need to go back and watch this again. I have been taking notes. I am super excited about it, and I'm going to go back and watch it again. So make sure you text VIP right now. Actually, if you can put that in there. Chad and Jason don't have to be here, right? We have a great relationship with them. Their hearts are about servitude. Their hearts are about helping people. And that's what we are about here at Alamo Title. So the fact that they're giving this information is so huge. I want to make sure that you take full advantage of it. So Chad and Jason, thank you both so much. I can't even begin to express
Absolutely.
how excited.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure, for sure.
And with that VIP, we're going to get you information, because they're going to do those deep dives and those breakouts and those sessions that's smaller in the in-person sessions, so you can really learn more hands-on. You have to be part of those. We want you to be part of those because we want your business to grow and all of us grow together. So please text VIP. Ashley, did we put that in the chat again, for the replay?
Yes, and
Okay.
friends, make sure that you text VIP. Don't put it in the chat, okay? Text VIP to that number that you see, 1-866-311-9377. Please don't put it in the chat because we won't get it. So make sure that you text that phone number with the code word VIP. If for some reason you don't get an auto response, sometimes the carriers, I don't know why the auto response doesn't come through. If it doesn't, I've put my personal cell phone number in the chat as well. And if you would just text the word VIP to my personal cell phone, and then that way we know to get you all the things. Okay, perfect.
All right, let's do a giveaway so we can get back to questions and answers. Jason, I have 10 pages of people. So if you could pick a page between 1 and 10, give me that number. Jason, hear me okay?
6. Sorry.
6, and then a number between 1 and 10 on page 6.
2.
All right, 2. All right, here we go. Jeannie Johnson. Jeannie Johnson, are you still on the call? Write this information down.
Yes, I'm here.
Yay, congratulations.
Yay.
We're going to be
Thank
reaching
you.
out to you. You've either won lunch at the Star overlooking the Cowboys practice facility,
Yes.
wireless
Yes,
mics, or
yes.
something like that. Yes, okay, I think I know which one Jeannie wants. That totally
Yes.
works. That totally works. All right, excellent.
Thank
All right, let's
you.
you are welcome. We'll be reaching out to you. And then Jason, can you give us one more, a page between what I say, 1 and 10?
Let's go 4.
Page 4, let me pull that up. Make sure I don't lose Jeannie's information here. Okay, page 4, and then a number between 1 and 10 on there.
Let's go 9.
Number 9, Jan Dunson. Jan Dunson, are you still with us right now? I hope so.
I am.
Yay,
All right,
congratulations.
Jan.
We are going to reach out to you as well. Thank you all so much. I'm not going to slow down. I know people have so many questions. I'll throw it back to you guys. Thank you all.
Perfect. Thank you, Corey. Okay, so real quick promo, Chad, or if Miguel is here, would love for someone to tell our community about next week's class because it's going to be another game changer. I just put it in the chat. Text the code 0726 to our same VIP phone number so that you will get the Zoom link for next Friday's class. So Chad or Miguel, if someone wants to share just a little promo about that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Miguel, if you're on, chime in, but I can also start. So Miguel and I, we've been working together now for about 2 years. We actually met when he was 18. He wasn't even licensed yet. But Miguel has been coaching with us. He's been part of our coaching community that we're building, and just a phenomenal young man. He's not only improving in his business, but also just making really great decisions for his family, for his future. He and his fiance are engaged to get married, and he's leading a team of agents, just doing a lot of really amazing things. And the highlights for Miguel are that he had been a realtor for about 5 years and was just like right on the edge of being a six-figure earner, but not quite there. And he plugged into our coaching, and last year blew through that six-figure barrier. But through June of this year, he's at like $250,000 in GCI, but he had $100,000 month from Instagram in March. And so he's broken through on that. And the last I checked, he's adding about at least 1,000 followers a week, but his DMs are lit up. So he's got so much coming at him now that he can barely keep up, and his buyer's agents are running and they're just succeeding at a really high level. So the class next week is how to add an extra 200K in GCI this year from Instagram. And just really proud of him, not only in his business, but also in the way that he's leading those around him. And there is, he just chimed in. You could follow him and follow Miguel on Instagram. But he's doing a great job, and we're gonna bring it next week.
All right, right on. Can't wait for it. So y'all get a jump start and text the code 0726 to the phone number you see in the chat so that we know to send you the Zoom link. Okay, cool. So let's get back into, let's like officially go into our Q&A session. I did write down a couple of questions, but Kathy, I know we were right in the middle of yours. So if you want to restate your question, we can start with you, and then I'll go to the questions that I've taken down in the chat.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to know kind of an idea of what Jason might say to a builder that's disappointed him or just not doing the job that he thinks he should be doing for his buyers. I don't know if I stated that the way I did before the break, but Jason.
Yeah, Kathy, were you talking before the contract or after the contract?
After the contract, yeah.
That's perfect. And
Great.
I will say that I have had this a few times where we really just have kind of a bad situation or a builder that is just not doing what they're supposed to do. And again, my job is to try to shield the buyer as much as I possibly can. So it's like Roadhouse, okay? You be nice until it's time to not be nice. And so I stay nice until it's time for me to have that real conversation. But I'm trying to do this without my buyer being present, because what I don't want is to fuel fear or anxiety or frustration or stress. So, but then, yes, there are times when I have to pull the builder aside or go back to the builder rep or pull in a regional manager and say, hey, this isn't right. I'm going to do it politely. I'm going to do it peacefully, but I'm going to stand my ground until my clients get the resolution that they deserve.
Thank you, Jason.
Absolutely.
Okay, next question. What about the PID and mud taxes in Prosper? How do you deal with those on new construction, and do you get objections?
So there are some objections. Again, the more you understand about each area, and if you don't understand what mud and pit are, do some research, find someone that can explain it. But again, the more you know about that, the more you need to get out in front of it before. So if a buyer comes to me, for instance, I just had a buyer looking out in Fate, and they have special tax assessments in Fate, Texas. And so we had this conversation before we ever really got into looking and before we wrote an offer that, are you aware of blank happening? And let's make sure that we talk to the lender, we factor that into your monthly payment so that we're prepared and we know about this going in. What I don't want to do is get someone out there, get them to fall in love with a house, and then they realize later that there's a pit or a mud that's going to be an additional tax assessment that they weren't prepared for. So I guess honesty is the best policy. Talk about it up front.
Perfect. Okay, Paige just asked, I love some advice when contracting your own home with new construction. We're working on one now, and I want to make sure I've gotten all of the incentives possible, or do agents get more for their personal home?
So agents don't necessarily get more from their personal home, but Paige, I would recommend you hire an agent like me.
Love it.
Just kidding. No, what I would recommend is that you take some time and sit down with the rep. It's all about asking the right questions.
Yeah.
If you don't know the answers, ask a ton of questions. It's okay to ask and it's okay for them to say no, but the answers already know if you didn't ask. So you can ask, hey, is there any way that I can offer lower and get the price down? Can I, is there any way that I can increase my incentives? I would explore every one of those with whoever your point of contact is, because not asking, it's an automatic no.
I will also mention it was years ago, so it's a different market, but you also have this factor in there. I took $5,000 of my commission and added an extra bathroom on the last house. Not the one I'm in now, but the one before that. So yeah, definitely sit down and see what you can negotiate on it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We did
Can I
ask
add something?
several questions, and at first they said no, and then I did get free black windows, which was around 7,000 or 8,000 after the fact of asking several questions. But they're being just tougher than I thought they would be.
So
But
I have a buyer right now that we're negotiating with a builder, and it's not a full custom builder, but semi-custom. And I was explaining to her that just understand that their answer is almost always going to be no in the beginning. So she was asking questions and they came back and it was, no, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to do that. And my track record with this builder, and I told her this, is that I'm always going to get a no, because when I ask the question and the sales rep is essentially being my champion, they're not going to fight for us. The builder, the corporate office, whoever that is, when they give a no, the rep goes, okay, it's no. And it's my job to keep pushing the boundaries. And so I keep asking the questions, sometimes 2 and 3 different times in maybe different ways. And usually I get either the result that we want or I get some form of it, if that makes sense. As long as the request makes sense. If I'm asking for, can you knock $100,000 off and give me a pool for free? Yeah, I'm probably not getting that.
Right.
Can I say something too to that effect? This is Talissa. One of the other things that people usually will tend to do is leave money on the table when at the end of the deal, you can go back and look and see what the houses are going for at that point. And it could be $10,000 cheaper. You could still go back and ask them, hey, can you reduce this price down by $10,000 because the houses are now, the base price is now $10,000 less. And they will go back and they will adjust the price for you.
Absolutely. I've done that many times where we're under contract and by the time the house is finished, the builder is either they've dropped their base prices below where we started, or they're offering some crazy incentives now. And I'll look at them and say, look, my buyers see this, they see all your advertising and your marketing, and it doesn't make sense to buy this house at that price. And at the risk of having a home come back on the market, most times the builders will work with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
great
Okay.
advice. Thank you so much.
Next question. Where or when do you do the exclusive buyer's agent agreement?
So I prefer to do that in my office, and I prefer to do it before we ever really get started looking. Going into what's happening starting August 1st, you're going to be forced to do it before you get out showing houses. But yeah, I find that it's better to do a traditional buyer consult, set all the right expectations. It's better to understand what the buyer's looking for, and for them to really see your value before you get started. And then have that buyer representation agreement between the two parties before you go out and spend a lot of time.
Okay. A lot of builders don't allow an agent to come in after a buyer has already been to the new home subdivision. Are these site agents letting you in after the fact because you've created a relationship with them?
1000%. That is exactly it. So yes, that is a very, very huge point. The story that I told earlier about the two different buyers that had already gone out to builders and really selected what they wanted. The way that I was able to get myself in there, especially the second one, because they were legitimately about to sign papers. And I picked up the phone and I called my contact at that builder, and she said, "Oh, I happen to be the one on this file. Yeah, no problem. I'll let you in. Come on."
Beautiful. Okay, how do you get the regional manager's information when the rep will not supply it to you?
You fall on the ground screaming and crying until they give in. No, you're going to be able to get their information. If the rep there doesn't want to give it to you, assuming that it's not just like a builder that has one office, you can always call a different community and say, "I need to speak with a regional manager." Somebody's going to get you on the phone. Usually when you go onto the builder's website, the contact information they have online doesn't go directly to the sales office. They will also have for some kind of a corporate answering or an online salesperson that you can get through to whoever you need to.
Okay, an agent had a follow-up question about when we were discussing renegotiating the value of the home, although it was contracted at a higher price. So this agent is wanting to know if you have that conversation in front of the client.
I usually don't. If there have been times when I have, and it's the times when I have it with the client there are the ones where the client springs it on me in front of the builder rep or in front of the builder. Like, "Hey, we see that the prices are lower. What can we do?" But I would prefer to have that conversation one-on-one with the rep before I create a situation where the buyer could potentially get emotional, if that makes sense.
Okay, perfect. All right, you guys, we're just a little bit past, so I'm going to wrap up with two questions because I think these kind of go hand in hand. So these last two, how can I learn about construction starting from ground zero?
Love it. Yeah. So we have 5-week class that we're going to be launching. That is week number 3 is going to be exactly that. It's going to be walking side by side with me, either in person or virtually, as I point out and I show you how I analyze a new construction home pre-sheetrock to determine the quality of the materials, the quality of the build job. And I'm also going to be talking about the ways that I go through a pre-sheetrock walkthrough and what I'm looking at and how I'm looking at things to protect my buyer.
Perfect. So, and I saw a question from an agent asking about how to get this replay. So just a quick reminder to get the replay, the bonus materials, all the information on the special deep dive that Chad and Jason are going to be doing for Jason's special class. Outside of that, for all the things we're talking about, please text the word VIP. So we have everything. I'm going to put it in the chat one more time. We have everything all in one place. As long as you text the word VIP to that phone number I just put in the chat, you will be getting an email directly from me with a link to a landing page that will have everything that we've been talking about. So that way nothing gets lost. So just text that word and we'll make sure that we get it to you. When is your 5-week class, Jason? When is that starting? Do we know?
We haven't set the dates just yet. We were going to allow people to funnel in the pre-registration. Chad and I are going to be sitting down when he's back in the office next week and selecting those dates.
Okay, perfect.
Um,
And the deep dive VIP class is going to be next Thursday. And again, we will have that date and time for you. And perhaps at that time, Jason and Chad will know a little bit more by then. But
Yeah.
just make sure you text the word VIP. That way we'll have a running list of everybody who's interested, and we can make sure to get in touch with you with all the details. I think you're pretty much going to answer this question the same exact way, which is why I have them so close together. And this agent was asking, how do we learn our value before and after the contract? And my heart just absolutely melted when I saw that question, because I know you guys are the ones who definitely can help this agent and everybody in this community.
Yeah, my answer would be jump on the Thursday call next week, the deep dive.
Yeah.
We can really kind of go further into how to build your value. But I would also say, if you want to pre-register for the class, we're going to be spending an entire hour talking about building a value prop and how to build so much value. And I will say this, that my goal on any phone call with a buyer is I don't ever want to set an appointment just to set an appointment. I've seen agents that will get a buyer to say yes to an appointment. And my answer or my goal is never to get them to say yes. I want them coming through the phone at me.
Yes.
saying,
Yep.
I have to meet with this person because they have the answers I'm looking for.
Yeah, I agree. And, I'll say this in regards to next week and then the class that we're doing. We're not we're real estate agents. We're still building the Chad Smith team. So everything that we're talking about is not just a product that is the primary business of our life. So we're not here to just sell stuff to people. What we're doing is we're finding agents that want to grow alongside us while we're still doing this. And so that's why this conversation probably sounds a little bit different, in that we're not full-time coaches. We're full-time real estate business owners. And this is how we actually do new construction. This is how Jason actually converts new construction. This is how we actually do our buyer consults and our value propositions so that we can solve this market. And that's why we'll be able to give you all those details. If you're interested, if you come to next week, and if you want to be part of the course or even hang out with us on a daily basis in our community.
Perfect. Carla, yes. So next Thursday, and everybody who might be wondering the same thing, next Thursday's deep dive is going to be a continuation of today's conversation. So you're going to get to have access to Chad and Jason in a smaller group, more private VIP setting where you can bring all your questions. So I'll make sure to get this replay and everything out to you. Monday is always my goal. That way, hopefully you'll have a chance to maybe rewatch the replay and really just be thinking in your mind, okay, if I have this VIP time with Chad and Jason, what questions do I want to make sure that I ask in that session on Thursday? So we're really creating that smaller space just for you so that you really can bring your questions very specific to this topic that we just talked about today. So Chad, Jason, we just cannot thank you enough. We're so grateful for you. We're so grateful for your heart, for your leadership, for your expertise, your wisdom, for everybody who's still on here and shared their extra time with us and kind of this Alamo title, Fun Fridays after party. Please give it up to Chad and Jason. I want them to really feel all of your love and positive energy because they really brought it today. So in the chat, please let them know how much you appreciate them. And we will really look forward to seeing anybody who wants to take this conversation further and to the next level in our VIP group next Thursday. I'm sorry, there was also a question about if you were out of town. Obviously, you can absolutely join us because it will be on Zoom. So it doesn't matter where you are, please join us. We would love to have you. And Jason, in regards to his special workshop that he will be doing, and I know he mentioned being on site, They do actually have a way that they're going to be live streaming that. So it just 100% does not matter where you are, anywhere in the United States, you can learn this information and be part of our community. So just make sure you text the word VIP so that we know that you're raising your hand and you want to be part of what we're doing. Okay, Chad, Jason, any closing words before we conclude?
I just want to say thank you to everybody on. They were great questions. I'm honored to be here. Thank you, Ashley, for allowing us to be here. Look forward to more of these.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Chad?
Jason. Yeah, absolutely. Jason, great job. Everyone was just blown away. I think this is your wheelhouse. You've really done a great job with the team. Thank you for everything you shared today. Ashley, as always, thank you. And everyone over at Alamo. And then everybody on the Zoom that was on the throughout and then has hung out with us the entire time. I'm always very impressed with the engagement and then the level of questions and the mindset of this community here at Fun Friday. So I do not take it for granted. It's a blessing to be here. I appreciate all you guys. And this was awesome. And then I'm looking forward to next week as well.
All right, fantastic. Okay, everybody, have an amazing weekend. Thank you for being with us. We'll look forward to seeing you next week for our VIP deep dive on Thursday, and then Miguel's amazing class on how to completely crush it on Instagram. So we have a packed agenda for you next week. Thank you all so much. We'll talk to you soon.